Hey guys, welcome back to Faith Echoes. I know it's been a while and I'm really sorry I haven't uploaded in a year, and oh my gosh, it's been a year since I've uploaded on YouTube. I did actually take a break from posting on my other social media, not just YouTube, but I am back for good now, and I wasn't planning on leaving for good anyway. But yeah, I'm back now and I'm super happy, and I can't wait to start, posting inspiring and helpful content again for all of you and help you achieve your hopes and dreams through manifestation. For anyone who is new to the channel, welcome. This channel is all about manifestation and mindset through law of assumption. I actually do have other social media platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, and Pinterest with daily manifesting tips. If you want to keep up with me daily, those social medias are actually linked in the description below. So without further ado and a little update, let's begin. So in today's video, it is going to be about how to manifest passing a grade. And this was actually a requested video. So, is it possible to manifest passing a grade? And yes, of course it is. I know this is because I've actually manifested passing a grade myself, and I've actually seen someone else close to me manifest getting accepted into their dream university. Even though their grades weren't the best, we still did it. We knew it was possible because we believe in manifestation. And we've used it for other goals in our life. So if it worked for them, those goals, why wouldn't it work for this goal? No desire is different. And we knew, I see manifestation as magic. It transforms your physical world and your words, beliefs. It's like a wand. It can do anything. There is no limits. The only limit is actually thinking logically and yourself. If you think it's impossible to manifest something like passing a grade, you've already failed there. So before I actually dive in how to manifest passing a grade, I'm actually going to explain a few points that are key before you start manifesting passing a grade and what you should know about manifesting a grade. So let's get into that. Now I'm going to talk about what to be aware of before manifesting your desired grade. So first is self-concept. So your self-concept towards the subject, your expected grade, your exam predictions, overall everything, your academic potential, stuff like that. So I'm just going to explain what self-concept is. Self-concept is basically all your underlying natural beliefs about yourself, and it's made up of feelings, thoughts, and beliefs that determine how you appear, your ability, personality, and worth. Linking self-concept to academic success, and in this case, passing a grade, if you believe that you're, dumb, bad at maths, for example, never get good marks in this subject, or always find it difficult, this is what you will continue to see, experience, and feel, just like a mirror. For example, if you believe maths is hard and the worst subject, you will always find, let's say every question difficult, you'll fail the subject continuously and have trouble studying it. So ask yourself, what are all your beliefs, feelings, and attitude towards your, academic success experiences in general? If this doesn't change and you just try to go forward manifesting anyway, you will find it a lot harder to accept new positive beliefs when you haven't changed the original bad ones, and reprogram your mind to accept those new beliefs so they can manifest. So that's really, really important. The second one, time. It does not matter how far away your exam is, or if it's 2 months or 3 weeks away, things can change overnight, literally. You just have to make the choice. Don't be discouraged and accept that you're going to fail or it's too late. That is being logical. You can change it within a second even, or a minute, if you change those negative beliefs. Have you not heard of people, manifesting things overnight? Adopt beliefs, just trust, accept, detach, and just be patient. Time is not a factor, and it can be a factor if you want to. For example, if you want to manifest becoming good at maths by the end of the month, or by a week, or in a few days, you can. It's possible, and that is called manifesting on a time crunch. So that is another approach to it. So mostly everyone thinks you have to study a lot, get a tutor or watch a bunch of videos and constantly be working to get good grades. Well, it isn't like that with manifestation. If you're studying a lot now and becoming increasingly stressed that nothing is changing, that's fine. it can change with your mind. That is another tool. For example, you can have a belief that you understand things straight away, or for example, I easily memorize key terms, or I'm naturally clever and I don't have to revise much, or I absorb information quickly and easily. And that will reduce your need for logical tools like tutoring, studying sessions, etc. And I'm not saying don't study at all, but that's possible. If you want to study, that's fine. This is just a way to help you realize anything is possible with your beliefs your mind creates, and you don't actually always need to rely on external logic and in your 3D things like studying, revising, stuff like that. This one is really relatable. People's opinions and teachers, for example. There are always teachers and people that won't believe in you in anything. Teachers may say you need extra study sessions after school, or a tutor, or predict you a really bad grade and basically say, you're not going to do good in this exam. And although I know it doesn't feel nice, you can change it. Again, it doesn't matter if they don't believe in you, or that or that you can improve. Only you have to believe in yourself. That's the key for change, because what's happening is the more people are telling you you're incapable and their negative opinions, you will start believing them and think it's true. And over time, so their beliefs are basically becoming impressed upon you, and then you accept them. Then your subconscious mind does, and over time you'll experience, all that negativity will be reflected in your physical reality, and it will manifest. So your job is to reverse that. You can even change people's opinions and how they view you. And remember what you believe about yourself. Again, linking this to self-concept. People as well as experiences will treat and see you the way that you see yourself. So that's another thought to consider. That's really, really important. I want you to ask yourself now, are you a logical or illogical thinker? Half the time we are both, that's just human nature and how the world has made us to be. But it doesn't have to be that way with manifestation and your mind. You don't have to be illogical, and you don't have to worry. There is no logic here with manifestation. You decide everything. It's like your own world, and you're creating your own rules. You want to get better at maths overnight, for example. You want to ace that exam and make it super easy. You can, and you are the answer. Logic doesn't get you anywhere sometimes. This is the answer. If you're a logical thinker, you can surrender and put your logical ways to rest. Keep reminding yourself if you're spiraling and doubting whilst you're manifesting, and forget that, remind yourself that manifestation doesn't involve logic, and I can have what I want. Just remember that, breathe and believe. So now here is a mini success story of how I passed maths, and I was really, really bad at it. So I'll get into that now. So notice how in the previous slide I was giving a lot of examples involving maths. Well, that's because it hit close to home for me, because obviously during school maths was my least favorite subject. I hated it. I know there are a lot of people that 100% feel the same way as me. And for example, on one test, I remember I got like 5 out of 30 marks. I was always in the lowest groups. I had to have a tutor and get extra help from teachers, in mini study groups. And that's how bad I was. But I did all change it, and I became okay and decent enough at maths. I didn't actually desire to be the best or excellent at it. I just needed to be decent at it, so I'd get just a pass, which was what you needed in core subjects like maths just to get into college. And at first I wasn't getting passes. I was just getting straight fails consistently. Throughout my whole high school life, I had been bad at maths. And that's when it got to my last year, when my final exams were, and I was dreading it and hoping and just wishing I would become good at it. I was really frightened, for my life, my future, and basically anticipating my fail. And in this final year was when I actually discovered manifestation. My sister introduced me to it. It felt like my life had been saved, and it didn't only apply manifestation to get me the good grade. I wanted it in maths, but with other things at school, like less homework and little things. I didn't just use it for manifesting good grades in maths. I applied it to other things that I wanted as well, but maths was the main one. So how I did it. So the last few months were approaching for my final exams, and by this point I was obsessed with manifestation, and every time it would be my answer to solve any problems that I had, and I felt relaxed and not so worried anymore because manifestation was like my secret savior, my magic to help me. Example, for one of our practice exams for maths, we have a few months before the real ones. I know it wasn't real, but I still just wanted to practice and test manifestation a bit more. So my affirming was actually my favorite method. So I kept affirming, robotically. That just means without feeling. You just keep repeating affirmations again and again, even if you don't believe them at first. That the exam was really super easy. I kept saying I'm going to pass. I knew most of the answers, stuff like that. And inside, I felt and said to myself, as long as I keep convincing myself and repeating these affirmations, everything will truly be okay and manifest. And I actually believed that. So surprisingly, after I came out the exam, I was shocked, like, what the hell, did I actually manifest that? Because I remember finishing the test on time for once, and I wasn't just sitting there mindlessly because I didn't know the answers. And it actually was a really easy, okay-ish test. So a few weeks later, I received my practice test back and I got a 55% on that. And that actually felt like 80 to 90% to me. And I even knew that by the time of my real exam, I could score just as high, and go for a 60 to 70% next time. For example, when I was in my maths class and revising at home or just sitting in maths class listening to the teacher, in the back of my mind, I would say, my affirmations like maths is so easy for me. I understand maths now. I'm so good at maths now. Even at times where I didn't believe it or on bad days or when I had homework, I still kept pushing those beliefs because I knew eventually they had to materialize and manifest. And I'd also listen to subliminals as well instead of music. I did actually find those really helpful. And it felt like really calming music while studying. So that really helped me as well. So when I did get a hard question, I would think it doesn't mean I'm bad at maths if I'm stuck with one question specifically. So I didn't let that bug me and throw away all those positive beliefs. My mind was slowly just starting to accept the new positive beliefs as well. So I didn't let any small thing ruin it, even though my old self would have felt like one question getting stuck on was the end of the world. And would mean that, I'm really bad at maths, there's no hope for me. Now, finally, the real exams approached and I was scared and nervous because obviously, who doesn't get nervous when you have a real exam? Obviously, you're going to get nervous. It's just, your nature, human nature. But also, at the same time, surprisingly, before I even walked in, and I actually had a good feeling about it and held on to that good feeling. Somehow I knew and felt that I'd pass before I'd even took the exam, and before I walked in, I would basically say the same affirmations I did with the practice exam. Of course, I did end up passing and I got the standard grade pass, which I was over the moon for. I just didn't want to fail. I just wanted a pass and I got that. Even if it wasn't the highest pass, I still just got the pass and I was super, super proud of myself and I was shocked, but in a good way. I also believe that if you want something bad enough and like your future depends on it, you'll also have no choice but to persist and as well persist if it's on a time crunch like my exams were. I also think that is basically a catalyst, like a factor in helping you persist, having a time crunch, because it helped me because I needed it, my future did, getting accepted into colleges and schools. Now that I've told you my success story, here are a few tips I'd recommend for anyone else in a position similar to mine or just wanting to pass with a good grade. Even if you are getting fails now or, D's or F's and you want to get like an A+, that is not impossible. You can go from getting 5 to 10 marks like me to an 80 or 90%. It doesn't matter. Be specific. What is it you really want? And don't just settle because you're convincing your mind that it's not possible when it is. It really is. So just be specific and know what you want. If you're manifesting and have been for a while as well, and you're still experiencing bad grades or becoming stuck, unsure what to do, failing it, it doesn't matter. Again, you can change overnight, but you have to be strict with your beliefs as if you're on a diet, basically a mental diet. I'm not sure if you've heard that term before, but it's not that your method isn't working or manifestation isn't real and it doesn't work. It is you. The problem is you. And You know, ask yourself, are you being hot and cold? Are you wavering? Are you letting your physical reality get to you? Because it can take more time when you're constantly looking outside of you for confirmation that it's happening or unfolding. But if you're saying it has already, you know, happened, even if you can't see it yet, you know, you will get further and further close to it. Like a game of hide and seek, basically. It's testing you. Think of it like a test. The universe is testing you to see how much you trust and believe, and it will reward you. And like I said before, I do actually recommend watching other people's success stories too on YouTube and Reddit as well, reading them. It will make you realize that everything is a journey. You know, manifesting is easy, but the journey is what makes it or seem hard the most of all, because, you know, our feelings, doubts, you know, our 3D, what we see in front of us happening. But that is why you literally have to block everything else out in front of you and focus on the vision, your mind. You know, what's the vision in your mind? You know, this unseen is always working out, so just keep trusting. And because subliminals helped me, instead of listening to music when you're studying, replace them with subliminals, you know. And they aren't, I know that people like listening to music when they're studying, but subliminals aren't actually boring. They're very aesthetic, and I found them calming because there's like water sounds in them, you know, soothing, like instrumental music or lo-fi music. And also, you're not reacting to anything. If you react to affirmations, for example, you can't hear the affirmations in subliminals. You'll just be listening and letting your subconscious mind soak them in and accept them. And then after you listen to them, you can just go about your day like you drank a magic potion and trust that it's just digesting and working. That's another way to think of it. So that is the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you feel much better and it helped inspire you, feel motivated. If you're currently manifesting your academic success, good luck. On the screen is just our links to our services such as ebooks, coaching and subliminals if you'd like more, personalized support. And my social medias are also linked in the description below. You can find everything linked in the description. Please like, subscribe and comment down below what future videos you'd like to see next. And remember, you have your desire already. Just step into the version of yourself that believes they have it and it's truly yours, and then it will be yours. So thank you guys and see you soon.